The word reprint sometimes can be a word which people like to hear or don't like to hear. Well, reprints have been good and been bad throughout the recent years with Pokemon sets. Of course, we've seen good reprints in sets where it's become really expensive, and we want to see reprints like Evolving Skies had reprints, and Lost Origins, so Tempest had reprints. Like, it's nice to see reprints happen so people can still pick up the products for a decent price. However, we've also seen the downside of too much reprints, like Shining Fates. Shining Fates is a prime example of a set that got reprinted into the oblivion and has never really recovered. And recently, the big talk is Japanese 151. Japanese 151 booster boxes reached a high of £200 here in the UK, and I think about $200 over in the US. Now you can pick them up anywhere between £50 to £60 here, and I guess it's pretty much the same over in the US. Pretty crazy stuff. I actually thought when the reprint was coming, and I was like, you know what? I think you could probably pick them up for under 100, but I didn't expect it to be this low, right? I still do believe that Japanese 151 is an absolute home run of a set and will bounce back in the future. Now's a good time to pick it up. The Pokemon Company in Japan, however, have now, I don't know if we want to say double down, but kind of went a little bit crazy and have now reprinted everything in the Scarlet and Violet era. Is this going to be the same fate for the English sets? We're going to be talking about it today, so let's get into it. Alright, here we have it. Pokemon Japan reprints even more sets. Almost all of the Scarlet and Violet era sets now restocked. I mean, they're already cheap to begin with, right? I think pretty much all of the Scarlet and Violet era sets here in the UK you could have picked up for like $40 a box, $30 to $40 a box. Most of them. There were some which were a little bit more expensive. I think it was like Scarlet and Violet, Clayburst, maybe Triplet Beat. But basically everything else was pretty straightforward. Like, it was, you know, around that 30 to 40 pound range. It was interesting to see that they're going to be reprinting literally the whole shebang. So we have here a picture. I would assume this is going to be all of the sets they're looking at reprinting, which is going to be interesting. So pretty much it's pretty much all the main sets, so not the specialty sets. But look at all of these. It was interesting to see that Clayburst isn't on there. But look in the rest of these. These are cheap across the board. I think the most expensive set was probably the Scarlet and Violet base. Maybe, well, Violet base, not Scarlet. Violet base, and you could probably say Triplet Beat. But all the rest of these, Rage and Surf and Ancient Roar, Future Flash, all of these are around 30, 40 a box. So that's pretty wild. Like, legit, that's actually pretty crazy. So it says here, we receive reports that some of the Japanese Pokemon centers have restocked Triplet Beat and Rage and Surf. Presumably this means that they've been reprinted and will be coming to retailers in the coming week. Back in March, the Japanese Pokemon Center restocked several sets for the first time since their initial print runs. This included Wild Force, Cyber Judge, Ancient Roar, Future Flash, Crimson Haze, and Shiny Treasure EX. That's probably the reason why we can find Shiny Treasure super cheap right now. In the ensuing months, Pokemon 151, Scarlet and Violet EX also received new print runs. All of these sets are available on the Pokemon Center website. So like I say, we've seen 151 absolutely crash. It has been just insane. People absolutely losing their minds. It's actually quite interesting. We've got here like pictures, I would assume, of the prices. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go, that's a lot better. So we can see like the prices over in Japan. So converting some of these over into pounds, they're about 25, 26 pounds a box for each of these. Obviously Shine Treasure is a little bit more, it's about pretty much the same. I'll say a little bit more expensive, but near enough the same. So yeah, you're looking at around about £25 a box on average for one of these. So that's actually quite interesting. It says, this means the only Scarlet and Violet sets that haven't been reprinted yet are the dual sets Snow Hazard and Clayburst. Clayburst, of course, has the Iono, which made it absolutely ridiculously expensive, which caused the set to sell out in one day. That's interesting they chose not to do these two. I know that Snow Hazard wasn't really an interesting one, but Clayburst was just an absolute, crazy powerhouse. At the time I refused to buy the boxes. I think they were over here in the UK for like $120, $130 a box. To put that into perspective, right? $120, $130 a box, and people were buying boxes off of, the Japanese Pokemon Center for, £25. So That's quite wild. Like, that's insanely wild. So now we're going to take a look at the English sets. And we're going to see how they are now and how a potential reprint could affect their prices. Because, you know, they're not really going up that crazy. Of course, Paldean Evolved is. This will be interesting to see at some of the other sets as well. First one we're going to look at is the newest one, Twilight Masquerade. You know, it is still a new set, right? The set's doing very well. Obviously, it has the big Greninja Chase card and a bunch of others. And, you know, I covered a lot of these booster boxes the other day, so I'm not going to go too much in detail of each one. But just to give you guys an idea, it's $107 right now. Over here in the UK, you can pick these up for, I don't know, $105 on average. You know, so not like super duper expensive. You know, if they do reprint Twilight Masquerade, that'd be fine. You know, like I said, it's quite a new set. You know, booster boxes might dip below 100, but we haven't really seen that many Scarlet and Violet era sets drop crazy low, apart from base set, which did drop to, you know, what was like 80. So apart from that, we haven't really seen anything crazy. I mean, recently we've had a couple of good sales over here in the UK of certain sets, but nothing like Scarlet and Violet base. I don't expect the other main sets to do like that, but it all depends on the size of the reprint, of course. And then we move on to Temporal Forces. Again, we're looking at around about 106. Of course, on TCG Player, you've got people trying to, you know, hope to make a ton of money on it. But yeah, you know, I mean, over here you can pick this up for like, again, 105, 110. Slightly more expensive in some places. Maybe you're lucky if you can find it for 100. Again, reprints, I think it's still relatively early for a lot of these sets to really think about, oh, you know, where would they go? How much money can I make on these and stuff like that? And how much will they appreciate in value? It's too early. It really is too early. You know, Paradox Rift is on the uptick. It's doing very well. You know, it was actually relatively cheap at under $90 at one point. When we look back, it was around 91. So going up to 106 is pretty good going. Again, reprint, I would expect them to go down in price. Again, when a reprint comes, guys, expect all the big chase cards to also fall in value. That's one thing to keep in mind. So 151, however, is going to be a slightly different kettle of fish. The reason is because the prices of these have gone insane. Like, let's look at a normal ETB. So a normal ETB is $67. We go back over the last 6 months, and we can really see it go up from that 45, 46 mark up to 67, 68. Over here in the UK, these are really expensive. Like, you're looking at 75, 80 in some cases for a normal ETB. Booster packs over here in the UK are just getting more and more expensive. It's pretty crazy. Now, we also talked about the UPCs. So the UPCs over here in the UK, I've seen a restock on the Pokemon Center website with the Squirtle promo. So fantastic. If you're in the UK, you want to get that Squirtle promo, now's the time. And, you know, we're looking around $118 here. I think this is actually one of the best products to open at the moment. For 151 value for money. Just even at 120, just because it's just got 16 packs plus all the promos. Yeah, 16 packs on 151. You've got the promos. Promos aren't that expensive, but you do have all the other accessories to go along with it, boost that value, as it were. Invest wise, at the moment, it's relatively cheap. I say cheap, but it was cheaper. Obviously, it's gone up, but I still think it's a good one. Just like the Charizard one, I don't think it's as good as the Charizard one, but I do rate it. And the other one I wanted to talk about is booster bundles. Now, can I find... There we go, booster bundles. These going crazy, to be honest. These are at $43. This is supposed to be the cheapest option to buy 151 booster packs. And it's just not. You know what I mean? You look at $43 for 6 packs. So what's that? That's like, what, 7 roughly or more dollars a pack? This has been climbing up. Not an insane rate, but it has been climbing up. Not as high as it was up there, though. I mean, over here in the UK, you look around, I think it's like £40 for 6 packs. Probably not the best. But yeah, this set needs does need a reprint. Then we have Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames booster box over here in the UK are actually one of the more expensive ones. A lot of people don't like Obsidian Flames. Dance Blaze 2.0. I mean, it is a Charizard set. I mean, I would usually say that that's a good thing going for it. That is a Charizard set. But those Dance Blaze now hasn't done very well either. Again, just like all the others, I do expect it to fall to reasonable prices, probably below 100 or at 100. You do decide to reprint Obsidian Flames. Paldean Evolved is the set, again, alongside 151, that some may argue could do with a reprint. It's been out a year, for over a year now. It is a good set. You know, we've seen the Magikarp climb very well and some of the other cards. And it is reaching 130 a box. Over here in the UK, you can find it for around about 110, give or take. I know there has been a sale recently on Magic Madhouse had a sale recently, and it was like £92 a box, which is insane. And I picked some up, so of course. But you know, you're looking at probably around 110 to 115, a little bit more expensive for a Paldean Evolved booster box. But if I'm being honest, I still think it's a pretty good price. You know, I still think it's pretty good. But if a reprint comes, probably drop down to $100, probably 95 to £100 here as well. Then Scarlet Violet base. I mean, does it need a reprint? Probably does, right? So we're looking at 95. I mean, go under $100. It's the only set that's under 100. It's actually over 100 or around about £100 here in the UK. So it is a little bit more expensive. eBay's probably your best place to pick up Scarlet Violet base boxes for under 100. But yeah, this does feel like one of the more weaker sets in the Scarlet Violet era. I'm not too bothered if this doesn't get a reprint, if I'm being honest. But if it does, it'll help it drop even further, which means it's probably more appealing because it's going to be super cheap. And then we have Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates ETBs, unlike 151, is nowhere near as expensive. Has been climbing though. I mean, they have been pretty cheap. I mean, over here in the UK, you could pick these up comfortably, like £40, which is fine. You know, I do think that's pretty good. I still think it's a good one to get. The Pokemon Center one, of course, hasn't actually climbed a huge amount. That's 70. Has actually been dropping, which is actually quite interesting. I think they did like a restock, and it dropped like 50% in value, which is pretty wild, to be honest. I mean, you got the big chase cards still in the set, the Charizard and the Mew, really holding things down. Maybe they might reprint some of the tins, maybe mini tins, but it most likely will be ETBs and booster bundles. So reprints, do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? Look, Japanese, they're on it. You know, they want to make sure that people can just get as much product as humanly possible. It does mean that the value, when you open it, it will be a lot less, but you are paying less for it, I guess. But for the investing side of things, English is yet to come. We have yet to have a big reprint of a lot of these sets. Talking to a friend who's near me here in the UK, who owns a store, he is expecting 151 reprints, booster bundles and ETBs for October. So whether or not that's going to be a big reprint, maybe it's a restock, he's talking about being able to reorder some, will be in October. So it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be the same over in the US and other places as well. Let me know in the comments if you guys have heard anything else about that. But we're looking around about October Q4 over here for 151, which will be interesting. It will. And we'll be talking about and we'll be covering it when reprints happen, because we'll be looking at the market before and after reprints. Where will these cards fall? You know, how much will they fall? Same with the booster boxes or ETBs like 151 and stuff. So for me, right now, if you're going to say, Jace, should I buy any of these? Look, the prices of these aren't too bad, right? These boxes are sitting at 100, 105. You're not really going to be getting it crazy low. You might be lucky that you can pick it up for $10 cheaper per box when the reprint happens. It really doesn't matter, because they're all going to go up anyway over time. So it just means that you can pick up some at a cheaper cost, which is happy days. If you made this far to the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. And like I say, let me know your thoughts down in the comments about the reprints. I think Japanese 151 will still do very well. I've been picking up some. I don't normally go for Japanese, but that set is just so good, I can't ignore it. That is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want to watch more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen and make sure to hit that subscribe button. But as always, you guys are the legends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.